The tree of knowledge of good and evil is quite a strange name for a tree, don't you think? But what does the name mean? Up until that point in time, Adam and Eve were still 100% obedient to God. So there was no sin in the world and they knew nothing at all about evil. But if they would eat the fruit from this tree, they would find out what evil and sin really was. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. Humans cannot see into the future. Only God can do that, since God exists outside of time. We should therefore trust Him when He tells us not to do something, even if we are very curious about it, because He can see the danger waiting upon us if indeed we do choose to be disobedient. Throughout the years, curiosity has led many people to gain more knowledge of evil. But this was never what God wanted for us. One day, Eve decided to go for a little walk on her own. Suddenly, she heard someone speaking to her. It sounded as though the voice came from the direction of a serpent nearby. She was curious. Who could it be? We know that it was Satan, who used the serpent as an instrument to talk to Eve. The devil, or Satan, likes to use various instruments to stimulate our curiosity and to tempt us and eventually to deceive us into disobeying God. For example, he can use the television, our cell phone, online games, music, other people, and even our friends to deceive us. Satan's very first plan was to get Eve to doubt God's trustworthiness by asking her, "Has God indeed said, 'You shall not eat of every tree of the garden'?" In other words, did God really say that? So Satan's first objective was to get Eve to doubt what God had said. Secondly, he cunningly twists what God actually commanded by implying, how can God be so unfair to tell you that you are not allowed to eat from all the trees in the garden? But that is not what God said. God only forbade them to eat the fruit from one tree, not every tree. Eve should not have spoken to the serpent. We should only speak to God, never to Satan or any of his fallen angels, also called demons. God forbade us to do so.